This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
And I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason Glick, how are you?
I'm doing just fine, John. Yourself?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now we're in the middle of August. Or we're just over the edge of that, and it's gonna be the end of August, and then September, and then this whole cycle begins again. Right, right.
Yeah, assuming like things like the entire state doesn't burn down, and the prophecy of Mad Max Fury Road doesn't turn out to be just like a future documentary of the state of California.
Hey, just in case, my war rig is ready.
Yeah, it's like, and I've used that joke before, but God, it's still appropriate. It's going to be continue to be appropriate unless that gigantic El Nino they're forecasting for the end of the year
Yeah.
comes out. But
By the way, did you see Conan O'Brien as the Doof Warrior?
no, I did not.
You need to like look that up on YouTube. It's hilarious. Like he actually did like do that, and I was told that that like he even has the fire coming out of the edge of his guitar, and they were worried that like he was gonna get burnt.
Nice.
Yeah, and Andy Richter's he's the driving underneath, so it's just hilarious. You gotta watch it, and the band's in the back playing the drums. It's just hilarious. But anyway, this is not about Mad Max, but this is about comics. So what do you have open for us tonight?
All right. Well, because I didn't get around to reviewing it when it came out, I'm talking about like the next most recent volume of Fables and the final volume of Fables, which also doubles as issue number 150 because the creators are just badass like that. Now, I've been reviewing Fables for quite a while over here, even devoting a podcast to volume 18, Rose Red. And this series has been one of the most consistently entertaining and inventive titles to come out for over the last over the last decade or so. And it's also been like easily one of Vertigo's most successful. It's like it debuted at the same time as Y the Last Man, and even though it's gone on for like more than twice, two and a half times the length of that series, it's still managed to deliver really consistent stream of quality since then. Now, in case you're unfamiliar with the series, and if you are unfamiliar with the series, this podcast isn't probably the place to start. Start with the deluxe editions, which collect two trade paperbacks in one to get a feel for the series. It's basically like Fables, like all the ones we know, like Snow White, Big Bad Wolf. It's like Jack, like Legendary Rogue, Boy Blue. It's like King Cole. All these fables living in the modern world. And while it initially started off as these fables have been forced out of their homelands by a mysterious being known as the Adversary, that story arc was eventually wrapped up with issue 75 with Geppetto of Pinocchio fame being revealed as the adversary in question. And after that landmark issue, series creator Bill Willingham decided, hey, I just want to do other stories of, about these characters and this world I've created. So we got a solid 2.5+ years about them fighting the evil Mr. Dark, who is basically collectively known as the Boogeyman, and his dire plans for Fabletown. Then the folks kind of shifted all over the place from Snow and Bigby's kids. It's like to the to even Snow's former husband Prince Brandish. It may seem like they're kind of lurching from back and for direction after a certain point, but no, it's like it's actually still been really entertaining. Ever since, like particularly with Cubs in Toyland being a really impressive and dark look at just like how it's like that for some of these characters, like how even like some of these kids are like showing Bigby's that they're not all going to have happy endings. That was fantastic, and now that when it was announced that issue 150 was going to be the last issue, I can express concern with the most recent with volume 21 that Willing had to set up too much stuff on his plate in order to successfully resolve in a satisfying fashion. Fortunately, that turns out not to be the case with these final two volumes. He does bring things into a fairly solid landing, not an exceptional one, but still one that sticks it in the end. Because even though I was worried about everything that was going on, from machinations of Lee Douglas to Prince to Snow's evil husband who's trying to be reformed by Rose Red, Prince Brandish. It's like and like all like about a dozen other subplots. Willingham managed to streamline things pretty well. It's like in volume 21, mainly by focusing on a couple things. The forthcoming battle between Snow and Rose Red over over who's going to rule over the Fables, as well as Bigby's descent into a feral state that would make Wolverine quake with fear. It's like volume 21, Happily Ever After, does do a solid job of building things up for the final conflict, establishing the stakes as a final battle between Snow and Rose Red as two sides of the same coin, and also prisoners to to an ancient curse, as Willingham basically just lays out their family history as he sees it in the context of Fables. And it's pretty interesting and compelling, and also the business with Bigby is ramped up as well as he's dumped onto New York as a feral killer, and also one that undoes a lot of the magical protections that the Fables have set up for their for Fabletown over the course of the series, as seen when when some of the law enforcement officers look at downtown New York and it's like, hey, that castle wasn't there before, and it's like, oh man, what's gonna happen now? And while the whole Lee Douglas business is resolved in Volume 21 quite decisively, Prince Brandish's acts of trial by combat is is still ongoing. It's like with the final volume as Flycatcher steps in after Lancelot meets his let's just say he's not going to have time to betray Rose Red in the whole Camelot fashion that if you were expecting. So final volume verdict on volume 21. It's definitely a good bit, entertaining in the way it streamlines a lot of the issues I had with volume 20. It sets up the final volume in a really effective series of full page splashes at the end. So overall, good stuff. And also I like the whole the bits of the last stories of so and so, because we get the last Flycatcher story, the very last story of Sinbad, the last story of Babe the Blue Ox, the last stories of the Three Blind Mice, Prince Charming, Beauty and the Beast. It's kind of a misnomer, because if you're expecting the Beast, same Beast you've been getting in the series, that's not going to happen. In fact, there's also a nice bit of callback to the whole Super Team arc. After a couple volumes back, that that volume was a really nice example of bait and switch. And since you thought you were getting a Fables was going full on Marvel and DC superhero style, but they weren't. And in the end, Bigby's conversation with North Wind derailed that in a most effective fashion. But then you get to the final volume, which also doubles as issue 150, and then you get it's basically a gigantic series of closures and wrap ups. It's as we get the final fates of Prince Brandish, Snow and Bigby, Rose Red. It's Snow and Bigby's kids, Pinocchio. Everyone gets their due. Including a epic climactic battle between Cinderella and Bellflower of all people, and on one hand, I appreciate the fact that Willingham's taking the time to just wrap everything up, and there's also a certain amount of cleverness in the way that this gigantic clash between Snow White and Rose Red is set up, but it's also kind of deflated in the end with as a calculated anticlimax, in the sense that you think it's going one way, but it's not. Not the same kind of bait and switch I was talking about just a minute ago, but it's like Rose Red finally gets clued into a certain part of the curse that her family line has experienced, and she realizes, hey, you know what? Things don't have to be this way. In fact, there's another way things can go, and like not only do we get the resolution of that conflict in terms of like the ongoing story, we also get a nice gatefold double gatefold spread as the ramifications of that are played out over 1,000 years later, and that's really it's like really quite impressive. You know, with like that in the way that Bill Willingham and artist Mark Buckingham are able to deliver. It's like overall, it's like there wasn't a whole lot that genuinely surprised me. I mean, like there's a lot of fun stuff in the final stories here, such as it's like I mean after the main Mark Buckingham illustrated story is done with, then we get more of the whole like 2, 3, 4 page stories that wrap up a lot of the a lot of the supporting characters and all. And really, it's like you get lots of talented artists from David Peterson to Russ Braun, who, my God, man, it's like he would have been a fantastic artist for this series if Buckingham ever decided to call it quits. To let's say Gene Ha, Nico Henderson, Joel Jones, Nimit Malavia, original artist Milan Medina, even Brian Talbot shows up for a 1 page bit with Death. It's a great celebration that kind of basically dots its I's, crosses its T's, and like just leaves you easy feeling. Hey, it's like even though I'm sure there's plenty more like Willingham could have done with this series. It's like I mean he probably could have kept going to issue 200, but he wanted to go and call it quits now to pursue other stuff, and while the series was still going strong, and also as Vertigo's longest creator-owned series by 50 issues. Take that 100 bullets. So overall, it's like Fables, thoroughly solid read from beginning to end, and it's like even if if like these last couple of volumes didn't lack the urgency of the whole Fabletown versus the adversary conflict, they were still like thoroughly solid and imaginative reads featuring lots of great art from Buckingham and and a host of talented artists that love the series enough to just say, hey, we want in on this. We want something. We want to contribute an issue or two of it as well. So overall, a ton of fun, and let's just. And I can only hope that even though Willingham has stated his desire to have time to finally do other stuff, I can only hope that he realizes that hey, it's like that he can do this stuff without while also realizing that without making a complete ass of himself as he did at Gen Con, as I hear, in the sense that he's had some really difficult. He's apparently had a really difficult time recognizing the fact that the time of straight white males being catered to all the time is over, and that we're only going to be catered to some of the time from here on out. That's his views are not reflected in Fables, thank God, which would make them unreadable if they were. And in fact, they're most of the time that kind of thinking is skewered. But if he keeps doing stuff like that, like he did at Gen Con, at future conventions, then yeah, he's probably gonna wish he still had Fables to fall back on as a full-time gig. But still, Fables itself, thoroughly entertaining read from volumes 1 through 22. And while the side projects as Jack of Fables and Fairest aren't quite in the same league, still worth a look at the very least. Let's see, John, any thoughts on your end about all this?
Oh, not this time, sir. Not this time. Um, do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Well, next time is something I've had in the offing for a couple of weeks, ever since I picked up the volume for close to half off on Amazon. We talk about Avengers and X-Men, Axis, Marvel's latest crossover, and by all accounts, one of their less successful ones, really. But hey, because I'm invested in the ongoing narrative of the Marvel universe, particularly as it marches towards Secret Wars. I'm getting it, and now that let's see the final volume I need to in order to review this, the Axis Prelude volume of um of Uncanny Avengers is arriving tomorrow because I'm recording this on Monday. Everyone, um, then I'll finally be able to read it, and the two volumes of Magneto that I have in my backlog as well.
All right. We'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
All right, later.
Bye.